What is up, guys? Ring of Honor just finished. Very, very interesting end to the show this week. We spoke last week about how ever since they've been doing their own Ring of Honor tapings, now the shows feel different. They're trying different things. They're not necessarily doing the same different things every week. The same changes you see tonight may not be there next week, but they're trying different things different weeks. You can see that. And the way this show went off the air was certainly interesting, certainly a change of pace. As you guys can see, I'm rocking Dolo tonight, Danielle's Traffic Utility. I do want to get this show started. I tried something different for the intro this week. So as always, I beg you guys to, Danielle's not here. So I don't want to just talk to you. I want to talk with you. Be a part of this show. But also, let me know what you think of tonight's intro. Let's get this show started.
Ladies and gentlemen, the show is about to start in 3, 2, 1.
ROH on August 15th, it really was quite a show. We felt the rush, Moriarty's got the stuff, we even saw Serpentico. Championships were on the line, but no rated this time. Robbie Eagles skips the line, Anthony Henry and Pete are doing fine. Mark Briscoe defended his belt, Johnny TV couldn't defend himself, match after match of fun. But now it's all done, so let's kick it to the heel marks because they are number one.
Ladies and gentlemen, fans and friends, I am back once again. I am the custodian of charisma. I am the ophthalmologist of optimism. I am on my own this week. I am one half of the heel marks, and the other half, Danielle, is trapped in creativity this week. So you've got just me, BRA to the D. Call me Brady. Ring of Honor, as I said, just finished. Guys, in the chat, thank you so much for being a part of this show with me. You guys got to be my co-host. So I don't want to just talk to you. I want to talk with you. Let me know in the comment section what you thought of Ring of Honor tonight. Let me know what you thought of the intro that I just used tonight. What do you think about that? And as we talk about this show together, me and you guys, the August 15th Ring of Honor, let me know what you guys were thinking. Let me know what your favorite match was. Let me know what you thought about the changes that you noticed tonight. I think they had 9 matches tonight, so they're definitely in this era, however long it lasts, of Ring of Honor doing their own tapings now every few weeks. They certainly want to give us as close to a 2-hour show as they can. They want to give us as many matches as possible. They're giving the live crowd their money's worth for sure. There's also, I'm noticing more of an effort this week in particular in getting more stories told, getting more mic time. Me and Danielle have been actively just begging for more in-ring mic segments. We didn't get too many more, but we did get Athena. And last week we complained about the fact that Athena's backstage segment, with all the 4 women featured in the TV and World Championship title hunt over the past few months, all of them, that segment setting up last week's main event was a backstage segment. Should have been in the ring. That should have been an in-ring mic segment. Let the live crowd feed off that. And we got that from Athena tonight. So that was fun. In fact, let's get into that. Athena comes out and basically stakes her claim once again. She is hazing Billy Starks, who is once again a minion in training. She's having her basically do workouts. If anyone was ever pledging for a fraternity out there, you know what it is. A lot of times brothers will just have you do push-ups, get a push-up position, do sit-ups until I tell you to stop, while they're talking to someone else. So this is taking me back to my old frat days. But yeah, Billy Starks is getting hazed while Athena talks about how much Lexi is better for Athena and her reign than Billy Starks. I'm wondering how much Billy Starks is going to take. Like, I hope they don't just skip to, oh, Billy stands up for herself and now, they're going at it again and we get that. Like, because I want them to take a slow burn to this. And they definitely are. A facial expression wise and the way Billy's been selling it, it doesn't really look like she's getting close to being fed up with Athena yet. But the same way Athena's talking about how you weren't the reason why I kept my title. It was Lexi. She helped me claim my hold my championship and you lost yours. Why can't Billy say, okay, well, why didn't you help me? Why didn't Lexi help me? Why am I on my own? Like, just asking the question, showing a bit of, her own point of view, that she's thinking independently. However, this is basically Athena. Like, we get that, and this is what I love, that we got multiple stories being told here. So we got the Billy and Athena dynamic now that Billy is a champion no more. We also got Billy basically dismissing Queen Aminata from the championship conversation, I guess, because she did get the win at the pay-per-view, and then last week, despite Billy Starks was the one who got the pinfall, Billy and Athena did beat them. So it looks like Athena's pushing Queen Aminata to the side. We had been speculating about whether Queen Aminata was headed more towards AEW. They've been using her there more. Maybe Ring of Honor's not where she's going to stick around long term. At the same time, if you want Queen Aminata to be champion, it would be wise to kind of just separate her for a little bit and then bring that back, because it doesn't seem like that story is really closed. Athena wants it to be closed. And you know who else wants it to be closed? Abaddon. Because Abaddon wants a shot at the championship. So Athena does not seem happy about her latest challenger. In fact, this is Athena like saying, I'm not scared of you, but then we see fear written all over her. Everything she does is fear. She's certainly selling the fact that Abaddon scares her. Now, is it the idea that Abaddon could take her championship from her? I'd like to see that fleshed out a little more. Right now, it seems more like Athena's just scared of the unknown that comes with Abaddon. Either way is good for Abaddon and the way she will be presented as she seemingly chases the ROH Women's Championship from the forever champion, Athena. I think this is a very interesting choice. We haven't really seen Abaddon regularly on Ring of Honor television. So this, bringing her back here was what we don't see from Ring of Honor too often, which is a very hot return that makes complete sense. The crowd responded very well to her. They even kind of, reminded us about it later in the show about what had happened. So this is a great way to utilize Abaddon. This is a great way to get Abaddon involved in a very meaningful spot. And as we've been talking about, yes, Athena is the forever champion and she's reigning supreme. At the same time, she's very vulnerable because her title reign has been going on forever. So you have to start wondering, when will Ring of Honor decide to end it? Who will they decide to end it against? And as you start seeing a divide more between Athena and her minions, you then begin to ask yourself, okay, when can it happen? Do I think Athena's going to lose to Abaddon? If I had to guess right now, no. But I think there's a lot of people who will put a big question mark on it, especially if they continue to build Abaddon correctly after a very hot return tonight. Speaking of very hot, it was a very hot opening we got in the show. First, and I enjoyed this. I did say last week, and I still maintain it. I would like them to do what they did the show after the pay-per-view, where they recapped things that happened last week that will be followed up on tonight, and they kind of set certain things up with a nice little highlight video narrated by Paul White. I'd like to see that again. I do think it's just going to be an after pay-per-view thing from now on, but you know what? Maybe if I complain about it enough, they'll change something. So I do wish that would be a regular way to begin the programming. But we got a backstage segment with Paul White and Johnny TV. And Johnny TV explaining that he deserves a championship opportunity. He's been overlooked. He's been underestimated for quite some time. I enjoyed this because these guys do have a past with each other. These guys have worked together in multiple companies now. And they're both vets in this industry. And in Ring of Honor right now, today's Ring of Honor, they're probably a minority in that locker room. Actually, that's probably not true. But there's also a lot of, the regular Ring of Honor card is going to feature a lot of young talent. It's very indie-rific that way. So I like this interaction because Paul White was genuinely showing Johnny TV the respect that he deserved. There was no reason not to. It's not like, oh, well, you're a heel, so I'm going to dismiss you. It's like, no, listen, man, you're right. You've been on a roll. Let's see what you got. World champions here. I can put him in a match. You've got your match. And they wasted no time. This was our opener. Mark Briscoe defending his champion against Johnny TV. I liked this a lot, actually. I liked everything about it. I did kind of scratch my head a little bit when it's like, oh, wow, you're opening with the World Championship match. But I did see on the card we had multiple championship matches tonight. So I was confident that one of them would main event. And as we learned throughout the night, there's multiple reasons why this was better to start it. A, because you had Mark Briscoe declaring his next challenger for the championship. Talk about that in just a minute. But we got that in a backstage segment. So you obviously needed this match to happen first so you could do that. And then, of course, there was the big way that they closed the show, which, of course, we will get to. But as for this hot opener, I thought it did exactly what it was supposed to do. Mark Briscoe is a guy who needs to start racking up more and more championship defenses so he can come across as the champion that he's presented himself as and is being presented himself as the fighting champion, as the champion we wanted for so long. He deserves this championship. He is Ring of Honor. So that guy should be accepting all challengers. So hearing Johnny TV wants a title match, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. And he shows respect in the post-match promo. He's like, Johnny TV, you a legend. Happy to go toe-to-toe with you, brother, but I came out victorious this time. And then he brings up what I brought up weeks ago. And I'm still a little annoyed that it took them this long to get this brought up on the program, because literally no one said shit about it since. But yeah, the Beast Mortos beat Mark Briscoe on AEW Dynamite. I want to say 2, maybe 3 weeks ago. And the next night was a Ring of Honor show, and the Beast Mortos had a match. And nobody in commentary mentioned the fact that he had just pinned the fucking ROH World Champion one night prior. And they could have easily added that in, like they usually do. So, and then like I said, they just never talked about it since. And I'm over here I don't get it. You just had this man get pinned, and it was a 6-man tag team match. So Mark Briscoe didn't have to take the pin. They're the ones that booked him to get pinned by somebody who at the time and continuing to today, really, Beast Mortos is kind of a regular on Ring of Honor, and he's been presented as a beast. I'm pretty sure he's undefeated in Ring of Honor. So not following up on that, especially when you are putting him on the show and giving him a win, you're not even going to mention that he should be in the conversation for number one contender. Even that would have just done something. But either way, they wait 3 weeks, and here we go. Finally, they give a mic to Mark Briscoe. He's coming off of a championship defense, so he's fired up. And he's like, listen, I lost to Beast Mortos. I got pinned. And you know what, Beast? That means you deserve a championship, and I want to give a championship match, and I want to give it to you. I need to get my lick back, and I'm going to do it with my title on the line. Now, compared to last week when Lee Moriarty kind of throws out a challenge to defend his own championship, which I didn't think makes sense, this makes perfect sense. So I'm glad that somebody finally said something about it. I'm glad it was Mark Briscoe. And I am looking forward to this match. This is what you need to happen. And like, it's the only reason why Briscoe should have gotten pinned on Dynamite by Beast Mortos. So you can at very least give another title title challenger to Mark Briscoe, juice up this title reign. However, you're also making it make sense. So now you're setting up a main event worthy title match. And I would like to see Mark Briscoe and the Beast Mortos actually main event the show as opposed to be the opener because they've set it up a week prior, which I could still see happening. I did mention Lee Moriarty. So let's talk about that. I thought it was very interesting. And maybe I got to go back and watch last week's show one more time, or at the very least, the Lee Moriarty, the STP, Shane Taylor Promotions promo. I'm almost positive Lee Moriarty literally said, hey, Action, I think me and you got business to finish up, and why don't we do it for my championship? I don't believe he said, beat me, and then I'll give you a shot at my title. Which, for the record, because I remember me and Danielle kind of complained about why is a champion, whether he's a face or heel, randomly saying, hey, guy, me and you got some unfinished business, so here, come on over, I'll give you a title match. Like, that doesn't really make sense. But that's what they did. And if they had done, hey, you know what, me and you got unfinished business, and I got some gold now, I know you want it, so why don't you see if you can beat me, and if you can, I'll give you a shot at it. That would have been fine. And that's what happened here. So that, to me, is a head scratcher, especially since these are at the Ring of Honor tapings. So, like, unless what you're telling me is that at one taping, they decided that at the next taping, we're going to have Lee Moriarty against Action Andretti in a title match. And then, like, the next day or next week, whenever they did the taping, they're like, oh, you know what? Yeah, we actually decided, fuck that. Let's make it a proving ground match. Also, I think making it a proving ground match was silly, especially since you already kind of had it in the promo. I think Action Andretti is past a proving ground match. Action Andretti is someone who's gotten a multitude of wins on Ring of Honor television over the past few months, whether it be singles matches, tag team matches, or trios matches. Action Andretti is someone who has certainly been pushed and is always remaining relevant. So I think proving grounds usually should be left reserved for people who need to prove themselves. Action Andretti is somebody who could easily challenge for any championship in Ring of Honor other than, I'd say, the World Championship without a real explanation. If next week Action Andretti was in a match for the TV championship, I don't think anyone would really be saying too much. So I think this being a proving ground match was silly. Also, it prevents this win from being as big for Lee Moriarty as it should have been. This should have been Lee Moriarty's first championship defense of his brand new Ring of Honor Pure Championship. He's a champion. He should be treated as such. If you're putting him out there for a match against somebody he's got beef with, against somebody who is featured heavily on your program, that should be a championship match. And now he should be able to say, who's next? Who wants some? And he can kind of still say that and saying, you know, ever since I won my championship, I'm undefeated, but he's got no defenses now. And so why are you putting him in a match when you're not, and you're going to give him the win, you know, no dispute. Action Andretti's got to go to the back of the line now. He's not getting a title shot. So it doesn't help Action Andretti because now the fans are being conditioned to not seeing him as a title challenger. He needs to prove himself still. And you've also, Lee Moriarty's done, as I said, done really nothing for his reign because he still has yet to defend his championship. You know, maybe I'm reading too much into it because once again, he did take somebody who I'm viewing as a potential contender, Action Andretti, and he slapped him down like, nope, out of here. But I just don't think a proving ground match does as much for the reign as a championship, you know, defense would be. So yeah, that's all I'm saying about that one, where I think this would have been beneficial to both men to be a championship match. And it would have been beneficial to the company because, hey, unless I'm going crazy and chat, let me know if I am. But I could have sworn that's what they said literally just 1 week prior. They literally set up Lee Moriarty saying, I'll put my title on the line, not saying, let's have a proving ground match. So that's what I'm curious about. And guys, let me know if I'm the only one that was thinking about this. Maybe I'm going out of my mind. Another thing that we got backstage and was a promo from Robbie Eagles. And he has declared after making his return last week and getting a win over an impressive enhancement talent, but an enhancement talent nonetheless. Robbie Eagles says he's here and he wants meaningful matches. He wants ROH gold. And poof, like some championship match magic, Robbie Eagles has a TV championship match for later in the evening. I'm pointing this out just because I think it's funny. You know, when they do this, it's the same way Atlantis Jr. got his championship match, where he kind of just showed up. He kind of just showed up one day on Ring of Honor television and said, "Hey guys, I'm here. And hey, Kyle Fletcher, I want a shot at your title. Oh, and by the way, I want you to come to my backyard of Mexico to give it to me." And then he got it. And he's been champion ever since. So I think it's funny when they like to do this, when they just have somebody show up and just say, "Hey, man, I got to win. That means I want your gold." And to me, it's just funny. All right. You guys got to let me know if I'm going crazy. Who's Izzy? Am I bugging? Who's Izzy? I watched the show. Maybe it's like a nickname. I'll come up with it later, but I don't remember. I have no idea who Izzy is. I want to say Izzy will keep Izzy's emotions in check because I believe in Izzy. But once again, that's with me not having a clue who Izzy again. It can also fuel Izzy to be hungry again too. That's what makes it interesting. So I'm clearly talking about an Izzy. Who's Izzy? Am I going crazy? I might be. But either way, we did get Robbie Eagles getting his championship match against Atlantis Jr. I thought this was a great match. Once again, I do think it's funny when people just kind of ask for championship matches and then get it, because then you're like, why doesn't everyone do it? But as far as this match, being Robbie Eagles' second match in Ring of Honor since he's returned, second match in a row, I think Atlantis Jr. and him have great chemistry. I love the storytelling, the in-ring psychology of attacking the body parts, with Robbie Eagles kind of starting and then both kind of having to resort to that. This was a match where you really had to hurt your opponent, because throughout the match, they both showed their resilience. They both showed how much this match meant to them. And Robbie Eagles, you know, if we're going to go there, you got to double down, right? Robbie Eagles did come out and quick challenge 1 week back, and he's like, "I want your gold. I deserve it." Gets the shot. So he had to come out aggressive like that. So I really did enjoy this match, and I enjoy the way they're presenting Robbie Eagles. You're giving him some mic time, giving him a championship match already. But just to harp back to my last point for the last time, I won't harp on it any longer. But imagine if Robbie Eagles came out and was like, "I want your gold," and all this was a proving ground match. And it had the same exact match, right? Same exact in-ring psychology, same exact close near falls. Everything was the same, except Robbie Eagles said, "I want a championship match," and instead got a proving ground match, which for the record would make the most sense, right? You know, hey, you want a championship match? What have you done? Oh, you beat one guy. You know what? Why don't we start you off with a proving ground match? Truth is, that would make sense, but it wouldn't do as much for Atlantis Jr. It wouldn't be a title defense, and it wouldn't do much for Robbie Eagles, because he's over here claiming that he's good enough to be a champion, and then they give you a proving ground shot. You know, go ahead, beat him, work for your supper, and you can't do that. So, like, once again, just back to that point, this being a championship match benefits both men equally, I'd say. So yeah, I think this was a good showing for both the champ and the challenger. Speaking of good showing, enjoy seeing Harley Cameron getting in the ring. We see a lot of her on the mic. We see a lot of her in a managerial setting, or just kind of showcasing her personality, her riz, if you will. But we don't see her in the ring too much, especially not here in Ring of Honor. We got to see her go against Viva Van. I thought this was a fun one. It got more time than I expected it to. I was pleasantly surprised by that. I've always been a fan of Harley Cameron's personality that I've seen. And I'll go to personality first, mainly because the truth is, like, when I first was introduced to Harley Cameron, she wasn't a wrestler yet. Like, not really. Like, maybe she had started training, but she was a singer and a dancer and kind of a successful one at that. So she had a lot of things going on. And at the time, I really didn't know how serious she was going to get into wrestling and what way she was going to go. It seemed like she wanted to be a part of the industry. But once again, we've seen her as a managerial position. We've seen her somebody who can go toe-to-toe with different people on the microphone and showcase her personality and the bubbliness and the funniness and the sassiness and the cattiness. So getting to now see her continue to grow in the ring is very cool. I think there's a lot of potential there. Last week, I believe it was Rachel Ellering that was the first to meet Harley Cameron, be introduced to her. And Harley kind of hinted at maybe trying to give Rachel a makeover, or at least suggested a makeover, not necessarily volunteering that she would do it. But yeah, Harley Cameron, I'm excited as to what's coming next. Because, as I said, last week, we got to hear from her on the mic. We got the introduction to her in a very sassy and fun way. This week now, we're getting a win that highlights and showcases her. So you got to believe they got a plan for her, right? I don't know if they have a plan for the premier athletes anymore. It's a strange case they are in, where we see Daivari once again get another clean as day loss. These guys aren't getting wins anymore. They've got smart Mark Sterling who can talk them up like nobody's business. And in fact, this week we actually heard Daivari talk himself up, which I thought was a pleasant surprise, where smart Mark Sterling hands the mic over and lets Daivari speak on his own accolades. That's fantastic. And I thought it was a good little short promo before your match also. I thought it was great. However, and then I see who he's facing, and it's like, oh, fuck. Well, this isn't going the way you want it to. And this is what I hate about shit like that. And it's not just the fact that I think the premier athletes deserve better. It seemed like when you brought them in, you gave us vignette after vignette after vignette, in-ring promo. You gave us a lot of segments and TV time dedicated to getting these guys over as not just a serious heel stable, but threats, legit threats that the baby faces and the champions were taking seriously. So they were giving us every reason to take them seriously, and then poof, it disappears, and they haven't been taken seriously, or we haven't been given any reason to take them seriously ever since. And it's just strange. It's just very, very strange why they're not getting wins anymore. They're not being presented as threats anymore. They're not being given, and it wouldn't be hard to do. These guys are all very impressive in the ring. You've got plenty of people on your roster, enhancement talents and other, who can put these guys over and get them hot again. And here's the weirdest thing about it, right? So, like, once again, I can't remember the last time these guys got a win. It feels like it's just not happening anymore. However, later in the night, following this loss, following them getting yet another loss, Tony Nese approaches Paul White, and he's basically saying that he deserves a title opportunity. Once again, the balls in this locker room of people just, I want a title shot. I deserve a title shot. Give me a light title shot. It's so funny. You can lose all you want, and still it doesn't affect your confidence. Listen, that's probably why they're wrestlers, you know? That's what it is. If you're confident enough to just go on TV in the smallest underwear possible every single week, your confidence is just at a level that you really do think you deserve a title shot just for walking in the building. So you know what? Credit to Tony Nese and his chutzpah. And credit to Paul White for saying, you know what? Why don't you take on Lio Rush? Lio Rush is another guy who's returned to Ring of Honor, very deserving. He just got a win tonight also. We'll talk about that next. So why don't you take on Lio Rush next week? I don't actually know if they said next week, but it was, to me, I think it was implied, heavily implied that it'll probably be next week. You beat Lio Rush, and then we'll talk about a title opportunity. So once again, I think that's implied that if, at the very least, if Tony Nese wins, he would earn himself a title opportunity that he was asking Paul White for. So that's what a big takeaway from this. Now, here's the interesting part about this, because once again, as I said, Lio Rush had a match, and a great one, against the very game Blake Christian. These are two guys who are pretty much at that same level in here where they're established threats. You know you're going to get a great match. You know you're going to get a lot of time with these guys, and you know anyone really can take it. So I thought this was a great one. This was a good match for Lio Rush because it does give commentary a lot to work with in terms of saying, wow, the champions better look out because Lio Rush just got taken to the limit by Blake Christian and he came out on top. So this is, Blake Christian was the perfect opponent for Lio Rush on this match tonight. But here's the thing. This is a big win for Lio Rush. This was a great one. Like, Lio Rush came out looking like an absolute star. And as I said, Tony Nese and literally anyone in the Premier Athletes has not come across like a star in a very long period of time. We're talking months and months. So Tony Nese gets this match next week against Lio Rush. If I'm putting money on it right now, my money's on Lio. Leo's the one they made an effort to establish as a strong competitor and as an in-ring threat tonight. They didn't do that for anyone in the Premier Athletes stable tonight or last week or any week. So it honestly, Tony Nese doesn't, to me, stand a chance. Lio Rush is going to come out on top because of the way this match got set up. If Lio Rush does win next week, to me, and I really hope commentary puts this over, or at the very least, when he does win, I hope he gives the discount double check, lets everyone know he's coming for gold, because this shouldn't just be for Tony Nese. Oh, you wanted a challenge to prove yourself? Okay, I'll give you a Lio Rush. This honestly should be what the Proving Ground matches are, actually. Like, that's what they should call them. I think they call it something else. But like, that's what Proving Ground should be now. It shouldn't just be champions facing people who may not have earned, quote unquote, a title match. So, hey, prove to me you can last, and then I'll give it to you. This should be a Proving Ground match. A number one contenders match where Lio Rush is the guy Paul White thought of when he's like, Tony Nese has to prove he's championship worthy. Okay, who's my non-champion guy for that? Let's give him Lio. So if Lio wins, the win over Tony Nese should do the same thing that the win over Lio Rush would do for Tony Nese. Lio Rush should be competing for a title opportunity. So I'm hoping that's where this goes. And then if that happens, let's say Lio Rush gets a match with Atlantis Jr., or Lee Moriarty, either one, then Premier Athletes are set up perfectly to interfere in that match. Take out Lio Rush, screw him out of the championship opportunity, and now everything's been set up perfectly just by this, right? And now we've got the Premier Athletes in a legit feud. You've got Lio Rush in a legit feud. Maybe whichever champion they choose for that match gets involved in that feud too, because maybe Premier Athletes attack that champion as well. There's just a lot of different ways that you can take this. So I'm hoping they don't just make it as simple as Lio Rush beats Tony Nese. Tony Nese now has no reason to complain about getting a title opportunity, and then Lio Rush does nothing with that big win either. Like, I don't want to see that happen at all. What I didn't think I wanted to see was another match with Serpentico and Griff Garrison. We spoke last week. We were shocked when that backstage segment happened. We're like, this feud's not over yet? Like, really? I'm pretty sure it is now. Serpentico got the win. Serpentico got the mask. I think all is right in Serpentico's world. So, and this wasn't a bad match. It wasn't a bad match. I don't know exactly what the plan for Griff Garrison is. I'm happy that they obviously had to do this to put a fucking pin on that just so Griff Garrison and Maria can stop carrying around Serpentico's mask, right? Because then either way, it feels like you're calling out Serpentico. Like, why are you still doing it? So that's done. They no longer have the mask. We're cool. Griff Garrison was introduced to MXM collections. MXM, the best looking models in Ring of Honor, in all of wrestling, of course. And I guess she wants Griff Garrison to join their team and make it a menage a trois. These guys are so funny, the way they're playing this and the way they're just doing as much as they can possibly. Because once again, it's like they're not on AEW TV. I mean, don't get me wrong, they are, but I'm talking about right now, tonight. So when they're on AEW TV, they can do some of what they're doing. They can do their gimmick a certain different way, but they can't say half the shit they're saying in these promos that they're cutting every week on Ring of Honor. They can only do that because Ring of Honor is on its own streaming platform. So they can do whatever they want. And it's not like Ring of Honor really takes advantage of it by cursing or going over with blood or anything like that. So if they want to have a funny tag team come out with some sexual innuendo and push boundaries about tip touching and all that kind of stuff and reach arounds, then like this is the program to do it on. So we, the ROH faithful, the guys who watch this show every week, we get the benefit because these guys are hysterical. I don't want to see this continue. I'm scared that it will. I'm hoping this was just they wanted to get MXM on the show, let them do their thing. They wanted to maybe just have Griff and Maria be in a funny thing, kind of establish, okay, these guys are going to be funny now, show that side of their personality. Basically, they put Griff to the test. They're like, hey, what would you do if we presented our tips? And instead of touching tips gracefully like a gentleman, Griff goes ahead and grabs the tips, and you never grab another man's tip. Never, ever, ever. So, which for the record should definitely be on a t-shirt. Gotta make that a t-shirt today. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see what's going on with that. I really, really don't want to see not only Griff join, but I don't want to see this become a menage a trois, a trio. It wouldn't surprise me if they eventually did pair them up with a female. I don't think they should, because I think everyone's just going to compare it to the fact that they were originally with, Maxine Dupree and trying to recreate that. I think these guys are doing great on their own as a team, as a duo. Major throwbacks to the ambiguously gay duo from Saturday Night Live, if anybody's old enough to know what I'm talking about. So yeah, I think they are hysterical, and I'm a fan of getting MXM on my TV any show it is, in any way possible. I'd like to see them have a match next week. I'd like to not really see Griff and Maria with them again, unless, of course, this is going to become a thing where they have decided to have MXM settle into the babyface role. And Griff and Maria are kind of just hateable enough to be good people to slide them into that direction for the fans to pick up on it. Where like, okay, Griff and Maria are people that MXM are going to be beefing with, feuding with now. Okay, go MXM. Now we get it. We're supposed to cheer for you. You're team babyface. Holla back. Holla bread. So yeah, I think that might be what they're going. I hope that's what they're going, as opposed to the contrary of literally them being okay with it being a menage a trois, being a trio. Speaking of being a trio, the Workhorsemen might be a trio when JD Drake returns. Anthony Henry did go on Twitter to clarify, JD Drake, don't worry, this is just something I do with my family while you're out. Me and you were still the Workhorsemen, me and you were still the team. But Beef, Anthony Henry's cousin that we met last week, he made his in-ring debut for Ring of Honor tonight. And they were defeating the team of Vinny Massaro and Dante Leon. I'm a fan of both those guys. I've seen them at many indie shows, so I was very happy to see them appear on our ROH TV screens. Also very happy to see these guys get a win last week. Oh, wait, actually, now that I think about it, it was 2 weeks ago, I think. 2-3 weeks ago, it was where we met Beef. I don't know if it was just last week, but I remember speaking about how excited I was at this. I love when they introduce a wrestler as another wrestler's family member and kind of now add a new dynamic to that. I love the fact that Anthony Henry doesn't necessarily want a team with anyone not named JD Drake. Last week, it didn't even seem like he wanted to see his cousin Beef. Beef's got personality. Beef's loud, out, and proud. Anthony Henry's not as loud as Beef, you know. Anthony Henry is a walker, not a talker. Anthony Henry's gonna put his knee in your face before you find him just talking about what he's gonna do. No, like Anthony Henry's about that action. He's a no nonsense, serious ass kicker, and Beef is a talker. Beef is loud. Beef wants the attention. Beef wants to shine. So it gives them so many different ways where they can take this moving on into the future. I like that they're not rushing to Anthony Henry being happy to see his cousin, even after they get the win. And Beef's like, come on, Anthony, we did it. Anthony's still kind of like hesitant. You know, he still doesn't, he's just, and it's not even that he doesn't like want a team with Beef. It's almost like he's trying not to encourage him, you know, like he still doesn't know if he really wants this guy to get used to being around all the time. Like, I didn't invite you, man. Like, yeah, we're family, but if I wanted to talk to you, I would have called you. If I wanted to see you, I would have called you. I didn't call you, bro. Why are you here? So I think there's just so much entertainment potential for this. And as I said, you know, Anthony Henry and Beef, they're so different in personalities. And I think JD Drake is kind of a mix between them both, actually, because JD Drake has the ability to play and has played the no-nonsense ass kicker, the punch first, talk later type of guy. But at the same time, we've also seen a lot of personality from JD Drake. And he can do a lot of different things personality-wise, gimmick-wise, both in the ring and on the mic. So JD Drake's kind of like the mold between Anthony Henry and Beef. And I don't even know if they did that on purpose. But there's just so much fun. And I'm glad that Anthony Henry's still hesitant right now. And we've got nothing but question marks as to, will this continue as a tag team? Or will we see Anthony Henry back in singles action next week? Will we see Beef in singles action next week? I think JD Drake should be coming back in like the next few months. So I do hope that this continues, doesn't progress too much when he returns, and then we can join them all together. But yeah, this is a lot of fun for me. I'm really enjoying Beef and what he's bringing to an act that really enacting on Anthony Henry that really hasn't been given too much to work with by any company he's worked for. They say, oh, he's the guy who has good matches, and then that's all they make him do. And it's like, even when you've got him in NXT, even when you got him in Ring of Honor, you never put him outside his comfort zone, let him try new things so he can grow in different areas. So this is a big sign of that. And I'm just very, very happy to see that for Anthony Henry. And hopefully for JD Drake as well. And of course for Beef, who really does deserve the shine that I think this is going to get him. Speaking of shine, let's talk about the main event, giving shine to the Cage of Agony. They got a tag team championship match for the trios. The 6-man tag team championship, because this is a Ring of Honor. Dustin Rhodes and the Von Erichs. Now, I thought this match was cool, but talking about the quality of match would be silly because that wasn't the highlight, right? The main event wasn't supposed to be a 5-star classic. No. It's supposed to give us some decent wrestling and let you enjoy the 6-man tag. And then we got the storyline. Then we got the progressor. Then we got the big-time ending of this show. I can't remember the last time we saw an ending like this in Ring of Honor. I don't exactly know if I understand all of it, you know, so we'll have to break this down together. But in the middle of the match did not have a true ending. Technically, technically the 6-man tag team champions won by DQ, but the Undisputed Kingdom and the Dark Order came out together as almost like a united super stable. And I had to watch this closely because I thought at first, because it just all of a sudden you just see ass kickings happening all over the ring. And I'm wondering if they attacked everyone. No, they didn't. Cage of Agony was left alone. And at first, Cage of Agony is just kind of taking their time getting up and kind of looking around and, seeing what they see. I was thinking, oh, they're turning Cage of Agony face. Because, yeah, these heels didn't attack them, but they did just cost you your opportunity. Championship opportunities don't grow on trees. I mean, I guess they do if you just get my time in the back and just say, hey, I want one. But, like, you were competing for the tag team championships. And these guys, the Dark Order and the Undisputed Kingdom, who have championship belts that you also would like a shot at, right? They come out, disrupt your match, cost you your opportunity, and these guys just start kicking ass with them. Don't care, don't mind. Yeah, sure, we'll beat up the baby faces with you. So I mean, like, that part is weird, to me, but I'm not harping on that too much because this was a fun way to end the show. I have more questions than I have answers, which is a good way to end the show. It makes me excited to see what's happening next week. Now, I hope they follow up on this next week. And as I said at the beginning of this program, I hope they bring back the whole recap of what happened last week and how it pertains tonight with Paul White narrating, because with everything that happened here, that'd be a perfect thing to recap before we start the show. Also, when they had Christopher Daniels and Jerry Lynn come out and, kind of be the producers that are getting everyone out and reclaiming order, commentary was really putting over the fact that these heels, that Undisputed Kingdom and Dark Order, they knew Paul White was busy with work-related activities, which is so hilarious. It's such a weird way to say it. They would have been better off if, like, something happened and he had to leave than saying he's busy with work-related activities at the very end of the show with a championship match happening. Like, anyway. But, so they kind of made it seem like Paul White wouldn't have allowed this. That Paul White would have came and done something. I don't know if that means Paul White would have been knocking people's out with the weapon of mass destruction, that big fist of his, choke slamming people. I don't know if maybe it just means that what Paul White says something, people will listen because he's Paul White, or maybe he throw out suspensions, fines, going Adam Pearce style. I don't know. But them saying that to us does kind of make me think we're supposed to be waiting to see what Paul White does about this next week. I liked the way they did this also because Dustin Rhodes, ever since they made him six-man tag team championship, they've really made him on Ring of Honor. I think he's meant more than he has in a while, like probably since Cody was in AEW. Because he just comes across from last week with him saying he wants more and Evil Uno almost resenting that he's still here, that he's still winning championships, that he's still saying he wants more because, bro, I'm waiting for you to leave so I can get more. I want more. We want more. We deserve it. And so that's what we got. And then now here we have Undisputed Kingdom uniting with the Dark Order, possibly over that same mentality. And then, of course, Cage of Agony unites with them. So while I'm interested to see what happens with now seemingly three different stables going after one stable who has, what they all want, which are the six-man tag team championships, I'm curious, what the explanation will be from the heels. If they do all kind of go in that Dustin Rhodes has the nerve to say he wants more. Hey, and really, because then from that, there's just a lot of fun you can have with the new breed saying, when's it going to be my time? Like, yeah, vets, we appreciate you being here. You paved the way, but let us walk that path, to quote Mustafa Ali. Like get out of here. It's our time. You don't deserve more. We want more, and you've got to leave and stop taking what's ours so we can get it. So yeah, if anything, if I had to make a tweak, I probably would have had them maybe somebody get on the mic and say like one or two lines. But as long as you're going to give them mic time, the heels, this super stable right now, this temporary alliance, you have to give them mic time next week, and it should open the show. They should all come out together in the ring and open the program talking about what they did, talking about why they did it, taking credit for taking out the 6-man tag team champions and every babyface that thought that they could help make a difference, save the day, be the hero. I'd love to hear the Dark Order talk about how they wanted to be heroes for years, but then they realized heroes got you nothing. There's just a lot that these guys can say. So I hope there's a fun follow-up plan for this for next week, because this was a very fun way to end the show. I think this was a fun show. I think the pacing was great. We got like 3 championship matches, I think, or maybe, 3 championship matches and a proving ground match that probably should have been a championship match. We got a match that I think should be a number one contender match, an unofficial number one contenders match set up for next week. There a lot of mic time was given backstage. A lot of stories progressed. We got new challengers for some belts like Athena's. So yeah, tonight was a fun show. And I'm looking forward to next week. Hopefully, Danielle's not trapped in captivity next week. Hopefully, she can join me. And hopefully, you guys join me, as you always do these wonderful Thursday nights. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed Mark of Honor just as much as you enjoyed Ring of Honor. Do not forget to like, to subscribe, to share, to support everybody at the bodyslam.net pod network. Support them all. Support them at slamchats.com. Don't forget to follow us everywhere at the heel marks. You guys are the best. I am just trying to be like you, because we're not just smart marks. We're here.